Okay. I would like to engage in a conversation, I suppose, with myself or anyone who wants to comment about the state of relationships, specifically in America, because that's where I live. I've been really fascinated in this for probably a year and a half or so because I'm noticing things have drastically changed. And I think it's inevitable. I think this was going to happen because I think what we're seeing is now men don't attack me. um, this is just my opinion, but things used to be in a specific order. Things used to be, it used to be a given that things were going to be a certain way. And that way basically made women slaves. And the reason I say that is because there were very defined gender roles. Women didn't have a choice. They were expected to stay home. They were expected to have children. Their worth lied in their ability to reproduce. Their worth lied in the type of household that they kept, and how well they took care of their man. And I'm not saying that, I can, one gift that I have is being able to see things from many different sides. Hopefully other people have this gift as well. I think it is a gift, but I do think that we can see the value in that. The value is stable societies and well, just stability in general and less chaos in terms of what's expected. We knew what was expected and we were resigned to that. And there are definitely, I think this needs to be discussed. I think things are shifting and it needs to be a conversation because I really feel like this is evolution of the male-female dynamic. We are in like a huge planetary evolution, in my opinion, and things are drastically changing. And this is a major, this is a major area of life, male-female interaction, and especially because it has to do with procreation and the continuation of the species. Eventually, this does need to be figured out, or, humanity is in a pickle for sure. But so things are changing, have changed drastically. They were a certain way. Women did not have choice. We did what we were expected, and we didn't even know that we could have a different life. And I'm sure any female that deviated from the standard 100, 200 years ago, 50 years ago, even 60 years ago, they really got backlash for it. And things have changed, and we had women's liberation where women now are able to work outside the home. So just that thing alone has drastically shifted the reality for the family unit and society, basically. Because since the rise of technology, since I want to say since the Industrial Revolution, but this has kind of been more recent, I guess, what I'm thinking of. So it has to do with technology. But also since women have begun to work outside the home, we no longer can survive on one income, which is really ironic. So there's a topic in and of itself right there. So there's that change. And then another issue that this shift has caused is the division of labor within a family unit, like within a married couple, let's say, whereas it was clear that the woman did this, that, or the other, and the man did this, that, and the other. But with women working outside the home, I think men's minds, or what we were taught as a society, did not change. And men don't naturally do the things that women did. So women were then in charge of the house, cleaning, raising kids to some extent. I do understand that there are some men that are more involved than others, but there is this mentality that cleaning and cooking are a female's job. And a lot of the child rearing, there's this mentality, but yet the female was now spending so much time outside of the household. So females, I think, have amassed this resentment towards men and the system that has put females in this place where they're stressed out, which affects sexuality. They're stressed out. They no longer feel connected. They're working too much to have, their female connection to their neighbors or to their best friends or whatever. Like, they're working too much, still having to take care of the kids, taking care of the cooking, the cleaning. So it creates this environment where too much is expected of them. And I think that, again, this affects sexuality and the ability for a female to be in the state of mind, not just state of mind, but physical de-escalation, to feel sexual, to feel like they want to be sexual. So with the drop of sexuality, or the drop of women wanting to have sex, and then there's another issue there, because you could say that women before just felt obligated and never really had a choice when it came to sexuality with their spouse, and they just saw it as a duty, and it wasn't out of love, or it wasn't heartfelt, or something that they actually wanted to do. There are so many things that we could talk about here, and how society has changed and how experiences have changed, and how this is all contributing to what we're seeing happen, which is really a breakdown in male-female interaction, or their ability to come together. So, yeah, so with all the changes in women working outside the house and the roles still being pushed on females, causing women to not be, I don't know, I can speak for myself. If I have a mess, of a house, and I'm stressed out and there's just so much to do, I'm not gonna feel sexual. I'm not gonna feel like I can just, and maybe this is a fault of my own, but I am very sensitive, and maybe I do need to be better about putting up boundaries and separating what's going on in the outside world and what's going on in the relationship, and put that time and energy into the relationship. I will clarify that I'm not in a relationship right now, so this is not an issue. But in the past, I did notice that when I was stressed out about cleaning and things that needed to be done, I was less sexual. My experiences were not as open, and I wasn't as willing to engage in that activity. So we've got the rise of women working outside the home, the effect that that's had. So then there's this effect that it has on men. So this is causing conflict in the male-female relationship, because women are feeling resentful. Society changes have also affected men. I think with a lot that's happened, men have become less masculine. Women have become less feminine. This is true with the rise in all this that has happened. Women have become less feminine, and males have become less masculine. in a way. They are, so many things we could talk about. Less masculine in terms of interest and ability, like the ability to like just get things done and know things about how to fix things, how to survive day to day. Not completely their fault. I think it is because of the rise of technology and things becoming easier and all that, that we're not forced to, men and women are not really forced to do things the way they used to do. So men are becoming less masculine in that way. That I think is a negative. But another effect that all this has had on males is I think that at least some males, or to some extent, men are coming more in touch with the feminine side of themselves. Hopefully, men are realizing that it's good to feel their emotions and express their emotions and not suppress things. I feel like this is a positive thing, but at the same time, one could say that because of that, they are also less masculine and able to tap into the male brain, or they're masculine. Again, I think we're in the middle of this huge evolution of the sexes, and ideally they are going to be more alike, but at the same time very masculine and feminine, if that makes any sense. I mean, I guess I need to think about that more to figure out how to convey what I'm trying to say. So there's just a lot. There's a lot to be said. So this is changing. All these changes are changing the way men respond. And dating has changed because we don't know who's supposed to make the first move. I think men get triggered when a female is assertive, but then there are some males that just lay back and won't be assertive and ask a person out. So there's that whole dynamic of, well, it used to be that the man made the first move, the woman was just there, men picked to the women, and things just worked out. And that's not happening anymore. The natural tendencies, the natural order of things has changed. And so that's a discussion in and of itself. I mean, each of these things could totally be a discussion. And so dating wise also, and I have to credit Louise Perry with some of my knowledge and thinking on this, because I have watched Diary of a CEO podcast, with Louise Perry, about how women are responding to this newer dynamic, where they're kind of being asked to act more masculine, more like a male, and just give it up. Just spread their legs as soon as they want to, as soon as a male wants them to, as soon as, they need to experience their sexuality and all that. And I agree with her that this is not a natural feminine's, it's not the feminine's way of feeling safe. And oh my gosh, that episode is amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's really amazing. Diary of a CEO. I think I actually might be able to find it. She gives some amazing points. She really will make you think about this. Diary of a CEO, Louise Perry. Yeah. So I might be able to put this in. Yeah, this is what, okay. I think it's called This Is What Casual Sex Is Really Doing to Women. I think that's what the episode is called. I'm going to show you.
really worried about their daughters and also their sons, and really, really want them to know this stuff.
Louise Perry, journalist, author, and podcast host. She is renowned for her views on topics such as sexual politics and the impact of modern feminist movements.
We have a culture that prioritizes male preferences for casual sex.
And you're saying it harms both men and women?
I think in different ways. So, for example, a lot of young women kind of go along with it, even if they don't want that, but that causes a lot of misery.
So this is a really great podcast episode. Again, it looks like this. So really, really, please watch it. You know, let me turn the light on. I think it's a little too dark in here. Okay. So dating has changed because women collectively used to have this control over sexuality, in that it was not a normal thing to like sleep together on the first or second date. Like, you were supposed to be kind of steadily dating and ideally even like possibly waiting for engagement or marriage. That's not happening anymore. And regardless of how we feel about that, regardless of how we feel, let me actually I think it does have an effect on dating. Like, you could say, well, women need to express themselves sexually and have that freedom. This is true. Women need to feel safe to experience their sexuality. And it's just that there may be a cost. There may be a cost. And, you know, we see this with dating, that it's definitely changed and that men are more reluctant to get married. I will say, how reluctant is the question, because I think if a man is going to get married, if he's ready to get married and he's ready and he meets the right woman, I don't know how much when you sleep together makes a difference. Maybe there's some statistics out there about that, but I think it may contribute to how long it takes a man to get ready to be married. Like, when they're ready to settle down, when they know that they've experienced all they need to experience and they are ready to experience partnership with just one person. When they come to that point, I think that the dating experience, sexuality in the dating experience, does have an effect on when that actual point happens. Yeah, I do believe that. Oh, that could be a topic in and of itself. So there's a lot of things that have changed. Dating, you've got the online culture. I don't think it's healthy. I will say that I do get lonely and I do participate. I have a profile on a couple of the sites. It's very difficult, even as a female, to get to a point where you meet up with somebody. But I have met some really good people lately. And I think it's good for meeting people that you can maybe possibly be friends with or hook up with, if that's what you're looking for. But I think dating, finding a partner to date, it's very difficult using dating apps because you're seeing these people that are outside of your area. And unless you make it very clear you're only going to communicate with and date people within your area, you're just chatting with people. And it's not going to amount to anything unless one of you are willing to move. And there aren't many people that are just up and willing to just move. And honestly, I think they, I would hope that they would just say that on their profile, like willing to move to your area possibly, or I'm willing to move outside of my area or whatever. I mean, it's just good to know that, because on the dating apps, I just really am not interested in people that I can't see regularly. And I guess this just really boils down to whether you want a long distance relationship or not, which I have done at times, but I am not up for anymore. So I kind of just miss the old-fashioned type of dating where you just bump into people and and I don't know why that doesn't happen as much anymore. Like we bump into people, but I guess we're not as willing to strike up conversation, or maybe people have forgotten how to flirt and how to show interest and not feel weird about it. So, so there's that. I just kind of wanted to play a couple things. This one, I am going to share this screen.
So there's a lot of men that has been checking out of the dating process. They have said, you know, I have enough of these modern women in America. We sick of it. There's no reason to invest in these women whatsoever. I want you to check out this video we're going to review because, boy, even with statistics, it's getting worse for these modern women.
I have been so hesitant to post about this for two reasons. Number one, I don't like negativity and I don't want to be like the bearer of bad news. Number two, I didn't want to believe it. But after doing so much research and getting a lot of messages, I'm going to just deliver the unvarnished truth to you guys. We're just going to lay it out straight. We're in a dating crisis. Not basically, we are. That's what's happening. So let me look at my research here.
I do happen to obviously to agree with her.
So I don't want to mess it up. So men looking for casual dates and our relationships is down 50%. 50.
Okay, so she's saying that a lot of you men, you said you have checked out the process. You checked out. Now, what she's not talking about is a lot of you men are flew out of here too. So you're not even on the dating scene because you're overseas trying to find you a wife over there. So now it's down 50%. Some men to say, I'm not even trying to fool these women. You know why they don't have to date you? Because a lot of them is just too easy to get. They'll lay down with you the first day.
Okay, again, I really feel like this does back up what Louise Perry is saying, which it's very interesting. I really, really want people to see what she has to say because it's not that simple. There's reasons why she says this. She's pretty amazing in how she ties it all together and why. It's biological. It's biological and it has to do with our history as a species. But anyway.
And listen, as a man get his rocks off or whatever, then that's all he needs. Let me tell you something. The dating process would go down to 100% checked out if tricking was legal in the U.S. If they made tricking legal, because notice they're making everything else legal, but they ain't making that legal. If they made that legal, none of them men would date y'all. What for? Because they can just go buy what they want.
I will say that I really feel like part of the issue we're having is that a lot of what's being said is divisive and it's keeping men in. I think there needs to be discussions. I think there needs to be a coming together and a trying to understand each other. And he's saying that women trick a lot, that we're tricky. We're tricksters, basically. And I understand that. And there are always men and women who are that way. But I just think it's an oversimplification to say that everybody is like that.
They want to buy, get their little rocks off, and that's the end of it. They wouldn't, man. Boy, I'm telling you, you better hope they don't ever make that legal in the United States.
Since 2019, not since 1970, since 2019, right?
And that's a short time ago, 2019, just a few years ago.
Right before the pandemic, down 50%. They're not looking, which means if you're a woman looking, they don't give a shit. So as this trend continues, by 2040, 45% of women, 45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single and childless.
Before they respond, this is a deeper issue. This is a deeper issue. The sexes are starting to wake up, and the feminine is starting to wake up. And women are realizing, I'm going to do a whole nother episode, podcast, recording, whatever you want to call this, about that issue, about having children and the responsibility and all that. But there is just too much for one. Yeah, I'll just keep going.
Listen to that, because men checking out the process, she's saying by 2040, 45% of women will be single and childless. Now,
I also want to say, single childless women affects men as well. They're not having the parenting experience, and society is not furthering by people having children. So this does not just affect women.
now let's go to the situation about the sperm banks. And especially when it comes to black men. Black men's sperm is in high demand. And black men has checked out of that too. They say, I'm not giving my royal seed to no sperm bank so some lesbian couple can have a baby without me. I tell all.
I just want to say, good for men for controlling their seed. I get that some people want sperm banks and that they serve a purpose, but I don't think we have a problem of men. Well, socially, yes, we have a problem with men not sharing their seed, but we haven't in the past, and it's actually been a problem. So good for them for actually being a little more selective.
All men, stop giving your sperm to the sperm bank. Not just black men, but all men. Take away that. If they want your seed, then get it the old-fashioned way. That's what I say.
Of course.
Because they try to do everything they can to X out the man. And see.
So why would that be? Why are women, quote, doing everything they can to X out the man? The only thing that I can come to is that women have a choice now. They are not in a place where they have to completely depend on a man. And they were oppressed in a way. Now, that's a whole nother conversation. We can talk about whether women have been oppressed or not. I think in some ways they have, and in some ways they've had it better before. It's not completely good or completely bad. It's a mix. Yeah.
This is part of the backlash from men saying, I don't even want to date y'all. Especially when men get money. Especially. They're not trying to deal with a lot of y'all. They getting on out of here.
Okay, but if men have money, there's things you can do like travel and amass toys and, I don't know, buy prostitutes if that's what you want or whatever. But there's nothing like genuine connection to someone of the opposite sex. Is it just me, or are people negating the effect that having a loving partnership, something that does work in a person's life, can be one of the most rewarding things that there is to experience? And it's like, so what that people have money? Letting it divide the sexes even further, and by saying, well, F this, whole part of the population, again, this is kind of what women have done, but that's because they've been suppressed. Women are saying, I think, if I don't understand men, if I can't find one that is mature, emotionally mature and has their life together and is worthy of my time, then I'm just not going to date or not going to have one. So in a way, that's kind of what women are saying. But men's response is to be like, F you, all you women, I'm just going to go off and enjoy my money. And I just think that it's furthering all these issues in the divide. Not saying they don't have the right to do that. I just don't think it's the answer.
Boy, like I said, be honest with men, you actually doing a good thing. You're doing a good thing because you're going to correct the ecosystem.
based on this trend. Let that sink in for a moment.
Well, like I said, the women that got common sense, the women that know how to treat a man, the women that are feminine, they don't have nothing.
Okay. He's showing a bunch of women who, let me look again.
They got common sense, the women that know how to treat a man.
Those don't look like American. I'm sorry, that maybe is not PC. Those are not the typical females in America. He's looking at very religious women, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a discussion about religion and male-female relationships. There's a whole nother one. But these are clearly not typical women that he's portraying here.
Man and women that are feminine, they don't have nothing to worry about. It's just these other women that they're gonna have to basically be in lesbian relationships with each other. That's all the options they're gonna have. And they're gonna be like the Brat and Judy over there trying to search for a black man for children, but had to end up getting a white man, which they didn't want.
Okay.
Boy, I tell you, hard-headed and rebellious. Men say enough is enough.
Yes, men are not used to women being rebellious. I don't even know what to say to that.
You know me, I'm a firm believer in travel. You guys keep traveling, keep going overseas. Go get you a woman over there, get you a wife from over there. Don't get these modern women in America because they're too rebellious. They a lot of them is too degenerate, wicked, and everything else that go along with it. The laws too crazy against men. Men have no rights in this country. But let me know what y'all think about this woman saying here. Like I said, good job, men. Good job. Continue to check out the dating process. Continue to get your passport and head overseas. Continue to not give your seed to the sperm banks. All men need to go on strike with that. Don't give it to them.
Okay. Well, so that was an interesting perspective. I just wanted to share that. There's plenty of videos online we could go over and talk about as commentary. So anyway, I just wanted to pop on here and kind of bring up kind of an overview of the issues. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that I've missed. So yeah, lots of good conversation to be had for sure. And I think conversation needs to happen. I don't think people need to just completely check out and not try to come together. It's like all this political stuff that's going on. Like, this is a time to come together. This is a time where people need to be discussing things and trying to understand each other and come to a common understanding about what's going on. So I just wanted to share some of that.